Hello guys, this is Dippy, live from Chicago. This time of the year, a lot of people like to make different types of pies and puddings and whatever. Well, I'm making for my friend, Miss Gypsy Brown. She's the videographer. I'm going to make her a peach cobbler, and I usually make it with the fresh peaches, but they didn't have any, and she said she liked the ones that come out of the can, so we'll make the ones out of the can. Now what's going to be interesting here is not only will we make this peach cobbler from scratch, we're going to make in these pans our own pie crust that we're going to use for the peach cobbler. So we'll be making pie crust from scratch, and then you guys will be able to see how to make it, because believe it or not, everybody don't know how to make pie crust, and this will be more so a crumble crust, so it's going to be different. Okay, this particular can is a can of half peaches instead of quarters, so I'm just cutting them up so they can fit. Okay, we're using 5 cans of peaches because you want to have a lot of peaches. And once we get the peaches going, then we're going to start making our pie crust. The secret to most peach cobblers, this is going to be, is the pie crust. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to set our oven, well, not oven, our pan on like about a medium heat. Okay, we're going to use about a cup of granulated sugar. This helps with the making the juice nice and juicy. We're also going to take some vanilla extract and probably about less than a quarter teaspoon. This is very strong, very powerful, but it'll help give some flavor to it. Okay, that should do it. Now, next we're going to get need some salt. Follow me to the cabinet. We could use either iodine salt or we could use sea salt. We're going to use the iodine salt, regular salt. Alright, and we're going to use cinnamon. Okay. Now, I have butter sitting out. We're going to use 1 stick of butter. Alright. We'll talk about flavor, it'll definitely be in here. And it's going to taste really, really good. The reason why I use real butter versus margarine is because you can't read everything that's in margarine. But this butter has only cream and salt to bake it, so that's always a good thing. Now, same way with the cinnamon. We're probably going to use about maybe 2 tablespoons of cinnamon in here. You want to come take a look at that? Show what it looks like. So as you can see, we have our butter, we have our cinnamon, we have our sugar. Now, one of the tricks to making the juice a little more thicker, some people use can't think of it off the top of my head. We're going to use flour. And it's just a thickening agent, that's all. You can use, like if you're making gravies, more people know how to make flour with gravy. Oh, this, you have one that's already open. Yes, for right now, because I'm going to use that to make the pie crust. So we're not going to use that much. We're only going to need about like a tablespoon of flour. That's just to put in here so that it'll thicken up. Okay, that'll help it to thicken up. Okay, so now that's cooking. Now let's get us a nice little spoon here. I want one with, there you go. The reason why I want one like this is because somebody has to taste this to make sure it's right. Could you be a sample of this, Gypsy?
Yes, I will, because I love the way it's cooking. It tastes so good all the time. Perfect.
Thank you, Miss Gypsy. I appreciate your input. Okay. Now, this is where we put a little salt in just to take a little bite off that sugar. So it's not going to be a whole lot. It looks like it, but it's not. Okay. And as you see, this is going to start to cook. As this begins to cook, the buttermilk, it'll have a nice buttery flavor to it. And then also what's going to happen is that flour is going to thicken up. And then this will have a nice thick gravy to it. I say gravy because I can think of another word right now. Look at that. Doesn't that look nice? That butter's melting in there. Would you like to take a sample of this?
Get a spoon. I'm not going to use.
Okay. Use your hands and dip you.
I don't want to be on camera with this.
You're not going to be on camera. Just take a look at this sauce and let me know what you think of it.
It is good. It's good.
Okay. You can taste the vanilla in it and everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this is now going to cook. When we're finished with this, it's going to go in the oven. But before it goes in the oven, it has to first oh my God, this is good. That's why I like using this Gypsy. She's really a good food taster. Now, the next thing we're about to do now is we're gonna make our pie crust, and this is all from scratch. And so I'm going to prepare an area here where we're going to use this pie crust. Is not going to be, no, we don't need this because this is going to be a crumble crust, so it's going to be different. If we were going to make another pie crust, we roll it out and we use that for that. All we need now is a bowl to do the flour in. And so we'll use this bowl right here. If you notice, there's a glass here with ice in it. I don't need but 2 teaspoons of this to make the pie crust. But once we finish the pie crust and we throw this in, here's the flour. Okay. And this is all-purpose flour. We're going to put a couple of drops of vanilla in it. This is for flavor. Okay. Pinch of salt. And this crust is going to have a little bit of sugar in it. Okay. A little bit of sugar. I was going to use Crisco oil to make my pie crust, but I like butter better, and it both gives the same consistency for what I want for this particular crust. Other recipes that call for Crisco use it because there's a consistency that they want in their recipe. But this is going to be a crumble crust, so it's not going to really make that much difference because it's going to be spread over the pan, and then it'll be good. We're also going to put cinnamon, but this is almost going to have like a cookie base to it. Okay. And here's the secret to any good crust. That's it. Now, this particular recipe we're going to break it up. See, all this butter is going to be mixed in with all this flour. This is a process, so you can't rush it. Most of the time, what will happen, you'll take your butter out an hour or so before you need to use it, and then you'll just mix it in that way. I didn't do that. It's okay. There's a certain feel I'm looking for in this crust anyway, and so as I come across the pieces of butter that have not mixed in, it's going to be rubbed in real good with that. Now we're also going to use, when we finish, sliced almonds to just add a little more flavor and nuttiness. And these will be placed on top of the crust after we put the crust on. Okay, as you can see, the butter is finally melted. It's starting to melt inside of there. So now it's going to have a nice buttery flavor. Okay, and so we're going to fill up one of these pans with this juice, and it's going to taste good. See, a lot of times, when I used to make this, I used to say, well, I want more peaches. But honestly, when you make a peach cobbler, the flavor is in the crust, but also in the juice that's made. And so you don't want to not have enough juices. So we're not going to add to that, but I think that's enough to fill this pan up. But we want a lot of juice because when you go to reheat it and stuff like that, that juice is in there, and it also helps keep it from drying out. But it's the flavor is just literally off the chain. So as you can see, as this crust comes together, it's not consistent. It's almost crumbly like. Okay, and that's how you want it. Okay, I'm mixing pieces of this of the butter in there because as I come into a place, I want to rub it on there so that what happens is this butter gets on there, and when you start to put it in the oven, it starts to bake. It'll bring it all together, and it just tastes nice. And but it's gonna be lumpy. It's gonna almost look like this, but it's gonna be in smaller pieces. And so I do it by hand because that way you can tell what you want in consistency. Okay. Well, look, we have people calling in already about our recipe. Okay. Notice you don't see the this cinnamon because it's all mixed into the flavor. The sugar's mixed in there. Okay. But see, now this butter's starting to get soft. We can start getting out of it what we want as far as mixing. Okay. So I would suggest when you do this, make sure your butter's at room temperature. It'll kind of help it go through the process a little quicker. Okay, but it's still going to be the same. And so now this is almost ready, as well as our peaches. Okay. My stepfather and I, he likes to bake, and this man can put together a peach cobbler. I told him, I said, I want to have a cook-off with you. And he said, what do you want to cook? I said, peach cobbler. He says, you don't want to do that with me. I say, yes, I do, and I really don't want to do it. I just want him to make one, and I eat it. So, but he uses it, but he don't make his own pie crust. He uses regular pie crust, and then he cuts it and dices it like he wants to put it onto the pie. But now, if you look at this, this is now starting to come together. It's a dry mix, but you can kind of feel the wetness of the butter as it's clinging to the flour and the sugar. Okay. And now, when you taste this, basically, this is almost a cookie. If we went on and did the rest of the stuff we have to do to make a cookie, make the batter a little wetter, this can actually be a cinnamon cookie. But we're not going to add that to it. But this is basically what would be a cinnamon cookie. Because we put cinnamon in it. Now we could put some lemon in it for flavor as well. Then it wouldn't be peach cobbler, right? Right. There we go. Okay. I'm going to ask my host, you want to fill this or no? She says yes, but she doesn't. She just did her nails, and it would make her nails look funny. So, okay. So here we are. Okay, it's just the consistency that we want. Okay. Now, what's going to happen when we sit this in the oven? It's going to bake, and whenever that crust gets brown, it's ready. So we don't have to cook any more of the peaches. They were cooked when they were put into the pan. Before they were put into the pan, they were already cooked. Came out of the can. But now I had a friend of mine, mother's. She made one, and she put rum in it and strawberries. And oh my God, it was, as we say, off the chain. Okay. Now I'm going to rinse out our pans because these are brand new, and I would suggest you get pans like this because they're easier to work with, and they're a little bit thicker than the other ones. Because some of the other thin ones that you get from a dollar store, they're not solid. This can hold something, whereas those other ones, they can't hold as much. So we wash them out, make sure there's no glue or anything at the bottom of them. Okay. It helps. Now, some will put a crust at the bottom. We're not going to do that. We're gonna go directly, taking up as much space as we can with. Now I'm left-handed, so you guys will be able to watch this as I do this. Okay. It's a little more. Always be careful. Remember, when you have this stuff come off the stove, make sure that you can handle it. Okay. Now here, we're going to put the peaches inside of the pan. Now I purposely got a deep pan, and I purposely bought more peaches. So if this doesn't pan out, we can put more peaches in it and make it be a really deep dish. And it looks like that's what we might end up doing, is cooking the rest of these peaches that we have. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna. All we're gonna do is pour them into the same mixture. Let them cook for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then this flavor is gonna be in it as well. But we kind of want this to go all the way to the top of the pan. Well, you know, not like overflowing, but all the way up. Now let me see here. Now this is good with like vanilla ice cream or something like that. You know, any kind of ice cream that you would like to go with it. Okay. This is still a lot thinner than I wanted as far as the layer of peaches. So I brought extra just in case, and that was the reason why. Because sometimes you thin it out and then it's not enough. And it's not a lot of peaches. I like a lot of peaches in my peach cobbler. And this is just going to sit on there for a little bit, and we'll get the rest of these out. Same thing here. Here's my little knife. It's okay. So we'll get half a peach. Okay. I was trying to make sure I bought. Oh, these are all peach halves. That's the problem. Well, we're gonna have to cut these up. Yeah, we're gonna have to cut these up because I don't want peach halves. I want peach quarters, right? Remember we had that problem before. What did I do with my knife? I'll get another knife and we'll cut these while they're inside of the can. Yeah. Okay, so we have cans of half peaches. But anyway, this'll cook, and this flavor will get into those peaches as well. And like I said, when I bought these, I thought I had bought the right kind without all the drama attached to them. That's okay. When you taste what it is, you're going to be glad you got an extra peach in your mouth. It's a lot bigger than the rest of them. Okay. And that's that. Peach juice is good too. Just put it up. Okay. There we go. Okay. We're gonna throw this back on the thing for a few minutes, and really, we don't have to because it really has the flavor in it because we're gonna put this in there anyway. So let me go use the restroom. I'll be right back. We'll probably pause for.
Go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we've had our other peaches set in here for a while, and so now they're going to be spread evenly across this pan. Alright. Like I said, we want as much of the juices as we can get. We're gonna pour the juice in there after we get all the peaches in. Otherwise it'll be too full and we won't be able to get any of the peaches in. Okay. So this is going to be really good. Trust me. Now the thing about this is you can make this in a couple of minutes. You know, in the ingredients, or how sweet you want it, or whether you want the butter in it or not. That's strictly up to you. That's your choice. I like the butter because it makes it much more flavorful. Okay. All right. Now that's the juice. We're not going to put too much more in it than that because we have to lift it and transport it to the oven. We're going to set our oven at 450, and that way it'll cook, and this should take every bit of maybe 30 minutes, and it just depends on the how fast the crust turns brown. So we're going to be crumbling this over the peach. I call this the pizza, over the peach cobbler. Okay. So we want to make sure all of the edges are covered. Okay. Can you see the pie?
I'm coming in and out, so just do what you do.
I have a sassy videographer. I have to call the union on her ass.
I'm going to call the health department on you. Did you wash your hands?
Yes, I did wash my hands. You want to see me scratch too? Okay. So see, this is not going to be it's not going to be a really thick crust, but it's going to be, it has a lot of flavor to it. Because this crust, like I said, it's going to be like a cookie crust. Okay? And like I said, everybody can't make homemade crust. It's not easy, trust me. Homemade pie crust is an art. And some of the old school mothers, in fact, I'm going to throw this out there. My mother-in-law, Miss Yvonne Hector, gave me the recipe for making pie crust. And she made it so that She gave me the recipe for not this type of crust, but I still use it for this, but for roll pie crust and for biscuits, because this is almost like a recipe with the biscuits, because you use 2 teaspoons of water for biscuits, and it makes the biscuits come out, oh my God, fluffy, really fluffy. This is what's left over, we're not going to use it, but we are going to use almonds, and these are sliced almonds.
Put it in the sink.
I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to layer them over the Normally, I try to cook something for you guys that it's a lot faster, less time, 10, 15 minutes from the video to the end. This is going to take a little bit longer, but it's a dessert, and you need to know how it started out and then what the finished product is going to look like, okay? So, remember I said we didn't want to put a lot of juice inside of that pan, because when we lift this up, it's got to go into the oven, okay? But these are nice almonds, and they'll add a little texture to the cobbler, okay? So we're trying to get this all the way to the edge, okay? So we're working it like we're working it, okay? So look at this. This is it done and ready to go into the oven. Okay. We're gonna see you guys back
What about
here.
that?
Huh? This?
Mm-hmm.
This is the juice I was talking about earlier. We're gonna try to soak it up a little bit with a napkin, but
There's some right there.
this may or may not work. Doesn't matter. We're gonna get this into the oven. Okay.